Police were notified, and in that time, Father Ochoa disappeared. Now, just over the weekend, the bishop issued a statement saying he made a mistake. He was sorry, that it was a misjudgment. Now the district attorney has to make a decision on whether or not to prosecute the bishop for failing to report the crimes in a timely manner. The timing has not been good for Bishop Walsh. First, it took 3 days to report the alleged abuse, and it wasn't until this past weekend Walsh admitted his mistake, almost 4.5 months after the reported incident.
If I made a mistake, I made a mistake. I'll take the consequences. That's simple. That's easy. I'm not worried about that. That's the least of my worries.
But it could involve maybe even time behind bars.
Well, if that's... Jesus was a criminal, you know. He was behind bars. I'll be behind bars. It doesn't bother me at all.
But attorney Michael Fiumara, who represents at least 8 families who claim members were abused by Father Ochoa, says this is all a sham.
I am certain that its spokesperson and their attorneys and other advisors carefully crafted this message so that it sounds sincere, so that it will save them a criminal prosecution, it will save the diocese money.
The district attorney has yet to issue a statement on whether he will prosecute Bishop Walsh for failing to...
Bishop of legal responsibility.
For his part, the bishop says he was getting some conflicting information.
I was told by a parishioner who works in this area of Child Protective Services that most people don't report it according to the technicality of the law.
It seems to me that if he wants to be a martyr, then he should apply for sainthood or canonization with the Pope.
As for the families who claim Father Ochoa molested...
This is ABC 7 News at 11.
The bishop was informed the night of the confession.
A priest's confession has him on the run from the law, and a Bay Area bishop facing the possibility of criminal charges. It all could lead to a legal first for the Catholic Church.
ABC 7's Deborah Villalone is in the newsroom with the latest developments on this. Deb?
Well, clergy, like teachers and doctors, are required under state law to report suspected child abuse. Investigators say it didn't happen fast enough in this case. And now the bishop, who was brought into Santa Rosa to clean up after years of sex abuse scandals, is in trouble himself.
You have to talk to a victim to understand it.
That's Bishop Daniel Walsh of Santa Rosa, back when the nation's bishops met in Dallas on the clergy abuse crisis. Protesters and parishioners outraged at how the church had harbored pedophile priests. Walsh told me then he wanted zero tolerance.
You can't inflict that upon someone else, no matter what the problems you're having at that time, and then just say, well, I'm sorry.
But I'm sorry is what Walsh is now saying about the case of Xavier Ochoa, a longtime Sonoma Valley priest. Last spring, Ochoa allegedly told Walsh and several other priests that he'd kissed a 9-year-old boy after having him strip in the church rectory. But Walsh told the church attorney, not authorities. And by the time the sheriff got wind of it, 4 days later, Ochoa had slipped away to Mexico.
You dial 911 and report it immediately.
Wayne Presley is an abuse survivor, among those pressing authorities to move against Walsh for failing in his mandatory duty to report molestation.
By allowing Ochoa to flee, who is to watch him and who knows what he is doing in Mexico at this point?
They came to this country to be abused and to be used and to be sodomized and horrific stories.
Ochoa's accusers say he befriended immigrant families and groomed their sons for abuse. Some are just now coming forward as young adults. And they say Ochoa's confession wasn't the bishop's first clue he had trouble.
Letters and correspondence from various parishioners and their families saying he can't be around our kids. We don't want him around our kids. He's doing things that are improper.
No comment on that yet from the Santa Rosa Diocese, but Bishop Walsh's own tough talk of the past may haunt him now.
We have to be accountable.
He told me 4 years ago, bishops who cover up should have clear consequences.
Resigning.
Even more than his resignation, Walsh's critics want him to face felony charges for failing to report. But charges will be up to the Sonoma County District Attorney, who's not commenting tonight. Neither is Bishop Walsh, but on the diocese website, he says he is deeply sorry for being cautious about reporting and that he'll accept whatever